You know, you got to clean that snow off your car immediately. You know, if you don't and you wait until Sunday, or Monday morning, that's just going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to have to use a ice scraper and everything and whatever. Anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here. It's Chris from New York. This is kind of a pain in the ass to put on. It's December 16th, 2017. And last night we had a bit, well, actually, while I was, all day it was snowing pretty much here in New York, Westchester County. It's New York. What are you going to do? I'm off right now to get a Christmas tree. Everybody's home, hunkered down. They don't want to go out. So I'm forced to go out and buy a Christmas tree. I don't know, guys. I mean, really, when you get into this flat earth, holidays and all the nonsense, it's just, you see it as a distraction. You see it as something that is there to. Now, I don't want to bum everybody out. I mean, it's Christmas and everything, and but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm going with this. Okay, I made this video because I want you to try a couple things. Okay, this is with the sun and the moon. Actually, it pertains more into the sun. This is an experiment, everyday experiment you can do outside in your backyard, if you care. If you don't have a backyard, you can do it in the parking lot where you park your car, like I do. Anyway, so I want you to take a look at the sun in this perspective. Here it's dark pretty much right around 4:45, I think. That's when the sun goes over the horizon and disappears. And in the morning, it comes up at about 6:45. Okay, that's what it's like here at this time of year here in New York, and I'm sure it's probably the same thing for you. Across the U.S., across the world, across every continent. Now, when the sun goes over the horizon, I want you to take a look at night. Take a look at the skies. Look up. And you'll see that it really doesn't get pitch dark. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really doesn't get that dark at all. As a matter of fact, you can see a little light on the horizon, which is kind of weird. And one other thing, too, is I get up very early, so I watch a lot of sunrises. It looks exactly the same way as it does in the morning than it does when the sun goes over the horizon at night, too. It's kind of like the same picturesque picture. You can't really tell at all. It's something to think about. But just do that experiment. Tell me how dark it gets where you live. Now if you're in the city, it's not going to work that much. There's a lot of light pollution over there. But try it in suburban area of your, if you live in one of those places, that's terrific. Excellent place to do it. And actually even better if it's cloudy that night. That's the best time to really actually look at it. There's an overcast sky. Here at night, for some peculiar reason, it actually clears up. Oh, we got an ambulance coming down here, and but for some strange reason, it clears up at night most of the time. Last night, actually, it didn't because it was snowing throughout the entire day into the morning. It's only a couple inches here. It's not that much. For New York, that's small potatoes. For North Carolina or Florida or something like that, it would be a total devastation. See, now I got off the topic. I just lost my train of thought. While I'm off trying to buy a Christmas tree. And what is this idiot doing? He's just out in the middle of the street here, just not moving. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, God. Why do people just go bonkers during this time of season? I don't know what it is. I really don't. I mean, I guess maybe they're just so indoctrinated. All right. Anyway, try that experiment. Leave me a comment on the bottom. This is leading up to a couple of videos I'm going to be doing in the future, in terms of different models to the flat Earth. And again, you know, I'm still in the process of investigating it too myself, but it turns out, you know, we might not know exactly what we live in, and anybody who's preaching you about what we do live in doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm open-minded, and that's why you have to stay open-minded too. When I tell you things, you know, these are just things you should think about. You know, other alternatives to what you've been preached to, basically, you know. I want to go back to the 60s with you very quickly. To Woodstock, 1969. That was our lunar lander, too, by the way. That was Apollo 11. The reason why I want to go back to this date to you is that the attendees at Woodstock, they were over... I'm just going to pull over here for a minute. I'm at the Christmas tree place, and there's really no parking anywhere. Should have done this earlier. They put together a concert that had over 750,000 people, I think was the estimated number, of people that were just, that's the you know, the 60s was the drugged culture, and they actually got them twice. You know, now that they're all into their 80s now, you know, now they're filling their bodies up with prescription drugs. So they actually hit that generation twice. Don't let it happen to our generation. They're not going to hit us. No, they let the drugs spill over into the 80s, you know, but most of us were smart and we didn't get into any of that stuff, you know, but whatever. I'm just saying, you know, the next generation was a bit more, you know where I'm getting with this, all right? I don't really want to get too much into it, because then I'm going to go off into a different tangent, and then I'll start talking about something else. The whole point is back to the 60s generation, all right? The 60s generation, the drugged generation, they have to keep every generation confused, just like they're going to have to do in the future until all of this actually hits the fan. And you know, the funny thing is I was looking at, you know, the flat Earth model, the one that I saw originally too, which made perfectly good sense. You know, ice walls around and whatever, a globe that covers us and whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not the model that we live in. I don't know. Nobody knows. You know, nobody can prove it yet. But I was looking at that model, and then I was saying to myself, you know, when the government allowed this to come out, whether it being one person saying that he's, you know, the guy who introduced flat Earth, or if it was just leaked out somehow or another, there was actually one person who actually had something to do with this flat Earth movement, shall we say. They probably said, why don't we let this model out? This is the model that everybody should believe, you know? This is the model that seems simple, you know, enough, you know, and people can wrap their minds around it easier. Unfortunately, most of the people can't. That's why there's only about 10% of us that exist. But however, eventually they'll come out too, and they can wrap their minds around this. When really there's a totally bigger thing going on, you know, that I don't know how they figured it out, but obviously it's there. So again, I'm going to tell you right now what the model that you're looking at and the model that you believe is probably not that at all. And the sun, which is right here, you can see it right through the clouds. I love it when you can actually see it through the fog right there. Can you see that? See how perfectly round that is? It just looks so perfect, doesn't it? Too perfect. That's right. It is too perfect. Because that's not real. what you're looking at there is not 93 million miles away. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's 73 miles away. I think it might be a lot closer than you think. But who am I to preach anything? I'm not. You know, I'm not here to preach a thing. I'm just giving you ideas for you to think about. I tried to cover as much as I can cover, but I got to get this tree and we got to get it set up by this evening. All the Christmas balls and all that stuff. You know, all the good stuff that we like to put on our Christmas trees. I could figure out a couple of other things that I'd like to put on the Christmas tree, but however, I won't be able to do that. So I'll put my pathetic Star Trek stuff up there. I have the little shuttle. I'll put that on the Christmas tree. And when I was asleep and was not one of the smartest people in the world, just as you are right now, for watching this. Okay, I think I've said a quarter of what I wanted to cover, but I just wanted to put something out there. All right, I'm going to get it more into this next week.